because you
No, they are always there waiting for you.
Exactly. I understand. I just want to make sure that there was no confusion by that statement.
No. Thanks for clarifying. Maybe it was my bad that I didn't explain it properly.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Just want to make sure, but so that people don't freak out that they might lose their reward.
Yeah, guys, if you have any suggestion when the docs came out that you think that can help people understand better, please just share with us. We are happy to upgrade it.
So from what I'm gathering, in essence, Galgo is an algo, or is it basically a stable coin that's tethered to the price of the algo?
Yeah, it's an algo liquid staking.
Yes, exactly. But it's not a yield-bearing token in the sense that it will generate yield for whoever holds it.
No, it's not. It's just for the. We thought that it's important that we still give the the ownership of delegating to the governance. So for us, it's important that someone committed, actually, not that just you are earning the rewards like other liquid staking.
Okay, I have just like a theoretical situation in, let's say, I assume there will be pools for Galgo on DEXs. That's correct, right?
Yes.
So in a theoretical situation, what if a whale were to buy a lot of the Galgo off the DEXs in the days leading up to the repayment period of governance? Would some people maybe be a bit stranded and not able to buy enough Galgo to cover their position? Is that a possibility?
First of all, you can always mint Galgo in our protocol. So let's suppose this. You delegated 100 Algo, you earn 100 Galgo. Then you do whatever you want, you use as a collateral, you are being liquidated, so you don't have it anymore. And the rewards distribution is done, so you could claim your rewards, but you need to send back your 100 Galgo. You don't have it. Even imagine that there is nowhere in the ecosystem, all the DEX, they are down. What you can do is take 100 Algo, go in Fox Finance, mint 100 Galgo, and claim your rewards. So you claim your rewards, at least. So this we will always allow. And what you have there is still 100 Galgo, but it's very difficult that there will be no liquidity to swap it. Also because we will be keeper of this. We will commit to this.
Okay, gotcha. And was there a technical limitation which limited you from being able to vote on both proposals?
It was our idea to think this way, honestly, because Algofam and Guard, they do the vote, so why not to have something different? It's like we thought that this is like you delegate the protocol. The protocol is one governor on the behalf of its community. That's all.
Okay.
In the plan, there is that when we will have our governance, and it doesn't mean to be the fully DAO, even to have just a decentralized voting, this can be done. But still, we will do it. We think that we will do it like community. So the Folks community is one. They express their vote on what Folks Finance should vote, and we vote as one.
Okay, awesome. And I just have one more question for you, because I remember back at the Cypher, I asked you about this, and I'm wondering if anything has changed.
Yeah, it was this one. I remember your question when you asked, like, do you plan to have any stablecoin? I said, no, we will not have a stablecoin to the dollar, but we will have something similar.
No, I was actually going to ask, well, that is true. I did ask that, so that was consistent. But I also asked something else. I don't know if you remember, you probably do, just about different assets being able to be loaned or borrowed on the platform. You said back then that anything is technically possible as long as the community votes on it. You still commit to that?
Yes, and also about this, for example, we always put the soundness of the protocol and the security of the user first. So why did we avoid to borrow Galgo at this beginning? Like we could do, but simply it can create scenarios where the utilization ratio of the pool is too high, or maybe people could leverage too much borrow, again use it as a collateral to take out algo and commit again. So because it's something new, no one tested before this way, we preferred to go with a step behind instead than a step further. So we will test this way just with collateral. Everything is safe, everything is good. We will allow also to borrow again it.
Awesome.
So backing to your question is yes. Like if the user, the community will want a new token, and the new token it respects our requirements, yes, we will do. It's all visible because we have the smart contracts are designed in the way that for each crypto pair, like a collateral borrowable asset, there is a smart contract. And this allows us to be flexible on what it can be the pair. Like we have a simulator that we add parameters, we check like the market cap of the token, the volatility in Algorand DEX. So this means how much is difficult to liquidate for us. So we can see for each pair what parameters we can have. Of course, we don't want to have parameters with like loan to value 30%. So we want to keep the protocol in a pretty, let's say, healthy state. So we have these minimum requirements.
Yeah, and I think we also need ASAs with healthier markets, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows that the ASA scene on Algorand is it's very developing, and a lot of them aren't ready for the big time. So there's new ones that are like GoMint and possibly things like Yieldly, and we got to see how the market caps develop. But I'm really excited for that aspect of folks where the community can vote on which coins they'd like to add to the protocol, because that's a really dynamic feature of your product.
I honestly think that like Javi is doing is fantastic. The thing is to develop a full DAO this way from scratch. If you are building already a protocol, it's a lot of effort. I mean, we will do, but it takes time, and we want to do it sound. So maybe we will begin with something small, but let's see. I mean, until we do feasibility test and everything designed, I won't say yes, this will be done. I mean, it's in the plan, but let's see when and how.
Great. Adam, feel free.
Hi, everybody. Thank you again for a wonderful space. We're doing this live on the YouTube channel. You guys are amazing, as always. Big shout out to Ryan. Big shout out to Oyster, who's been helping me out behind the scenes. Thank you, gentlemen. Bendito, thank you so much. It's a really, really cool project. If you don't mind, I just want to ask some questions and kind of dumb down the project a little bit for most people to understand.
Of course, Adam. Ask anything. Yeah. I'm here for you. And thank you for the compliment.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you ever want to do an AMA, just let me know as well. So
of course, like just let me answer to this. Anyone who would like to interview me or the team, I'm happy to do this, especially this week because it's full of announcements. Actually, Tuesday we will have another thing that I think influencer will really like. So feel free to reach me out. I am in Miami. Also, if you want to do some live interview, if you're around, I am happy to do.
Maybe I'll fly out there to do something, actually. I'll DM you on the private.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I never heard of your project. I've been in Algo for a while, but I'm just getting into DeFi of Algo, and I'm showing everybody examples of how to actually use it. Again, Algo is a very mature blockchain for mature people, and it gets a little bit overwhelming. So let's just break everything down in English as far as what I understand. So your platform is going to go live in one day, right? Currently, you have the testnet, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's right. Tomorrow, the one day, 24 hours from now.
Yep. Okay. Your platform is, we put in an algo, you give us a one-to-one mint with something called G-algo. G-algo is a stable coin that stays at the price of algo, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. Guys, so the stable, I'm just talking to my viewers. So the stable coin, guys, is a stable coin, not USD stable coin, but algo stable coin.
Yeah.
Okay. The borrow period was 30 days, you said?
No, the borrow period, there is no borrow period. Like, you can use it as a collateral for how long you want. It's important you repay your interest and you keep the health factor above 1. Maybe if you are new to the protocol, you don't know what's the health factor. So the health factor is a new way that we have designed on how to keep track of the user debt and when it should be liquidated. So basically, there are maths behind. You can read the docs. I'm not going to bother you here. But when the health factor reaches 1, and it's very easy to see from the user interface, you are being liquidated.
Okay, fantastic. And when you stake your algo or you exchange it for G-algo, this gives you some type of voting and governance, part of Folks Finance specifically, correct?
Not that correct. So when you commit algo and you mint G-algo, if you do it in the time period of the Algorand commitment, we will have like few hours that we will close it in advance just to make sure that we are voting properly. So when you do this, you are committing to the Algorand governance through us. You are delegating us, so we will vote on your behalf as one governor, that is Folks Finance, for like the community of Folks Finance, and you will earn your rewards. That's how it works later after 3 months.
I got it. So instead of locking up your Algorand in your wallet that you can't really do much with, and now you get the G-algo and you use the G-algo to go on your merry way of doing finance on the Algorand blockchain.
Yes, that's what we thought, that we need to have something that is paired to the algo, a stable coin of the algo, moving it around, do whatever you want. Every protocol will benefit of it. And that's how we think that the TVL of Algorand will be boosted.
Oh, that's very good. I was actually going to govern a lot of algo right now, just waiting for my Ledger wallet to do cold storage.
About this, be careful. On Folks Finance, you can only deposit and withdraw with Ledger. I don't remember if it's allowed to mint G-algo with it, honestly, but it will be said in the docs. So it's a problem that many protocols have on Algorand. I know there is Pact working on it to solve it, but it's a pretty main limitation of Algorand. That's true.
So using a cold storage wallet does not, besides for just Folks Finance, does that limit me in a lot of things that I could do on Algorand using a cold storage?
Right now, yes.
Oh, wow. So can I participate? I'm going to get right back to Folks Finance. Just curious. Can I participate in regular governance with a ledger or no?
I don't know about this. Like in maybe someone else knows it. I don't.
Here's Adam. Here's an option for you. You can buy an iPod Touch or an iPhone that's disconnected from a cellular network that's new or basically clean. Install the Para wallet on it. Move your algo there, and that is essentially just as safe as a ledger, because if the only thing you use that iPod Touch or exclusive iPhone for is only using it as basically your hardware wallet, it's essentially the same thing.
That's fantastic, Ibo. Do you think we should add it to the docs, every protocol?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, it's a clever workaround. That's like, if people value their security, the Para wallet's it's a really good app, I think, and it definitely makes it easier to make algo transactions because you don't have to sign the password on my algo. I mean, I use my algo all the time, but if I could change something, I would probably try to change that because you have to put in your password a little too much. So yeah, if you want something that's secure and a mobile wallet, I would try that iPod Touch strategy.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely know the strategy. I could go even one step further. 100%. Just delete the app once you do the governance, and you only reinstall it with your passwords when you need it. Right? Same thing. Once it's deleted, you have there's no access, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, that's true. If you were to delete the Para wallet after you've done your governance committal and whatever other actions you wanted to take, technically the only way to get into that wallet is if someone could read your mind. So
and like Benedetto said, the PactFi team is working on a solution. So within the next month or two, this problem will be resolved. You'll be able to use your ledger devices, no problem.
Oyster, who's the Pact team? I'm just not familiar with that is.
It's another team. They have
A
their
DEX.
product is a DEX.
Got it.
DEX.
it's a DEX out of Australia, and I believe that I think Chris Swenner actually put out a tweet about this like a month ago or so, and he said, "Who's working on ledger compatibility with Algorand? Let's get down to business." And Chris, did anything happen with that? Are people working on that?
Yeah, what I found was that a bunch of people were working on it independently. But I mean, what my tweet did was kind of bring a lot of people together. Found out that Algorand Inc. was actually directly hiring somebody full time to focus on the ledger hardware stuff. And then, of course, Pact, like you said, is working hard on it. I believe they're bringing someone on. So this is a problem that's going to be solved very quickly.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Shout out. Benedetto, so just to finish up, I know some other people want to talk, and I think it's a remarkable project that you're doing. So you minting the one-to-one algo for G-Algo. Now, G-Algo is compatible yet or not compatible, and will be compatible with a lot of the pools and stakings and swaps and all these DeFi protocols.
So first of all, once you have it, you can do your own pool if the DEX allows you. But yes, it will be. It's an ASA normally, nothing complex. You will see it's like with the liquidity pairing normally.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm good. Thank you very much for clarifying that, and I'll reach out to you in a DM. And shout out to Chris, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You are welcome.
Fred, please.
Hey, Bilal, thank you very much for opening up these spaces. And I have a quick question for Benedetto, if I may. And first of all, I truly apologize if this has been asked before. I missed the first 15 minutes of the spaces. So if it has been answered, just let me know, and then I'll listen back to you later. But Benedetto, I just have a quick question for you that actually I've tweeted at you before, and you gave me an answer, but maybe this is an opportunity for us to expand a little bit more on this. Is that, are you envisioning right at launch tomorrow the possibility for us to use the algos that we lock for governance on our participating nodes as well? If it's a yes or no, if maybe we can discuss, how that would work. Thank you.
Yes, I will briefly re-summarize it. So the algo liquid governance of Fox Finance will be officially launched after few days. Let not me share with you the date, because it will be the announcement tomorrow. So tomorrow will be the mainnet with the lending and the borrowing, lock and earn and rewards aggregator, and then a few days more and we will publish the algo liquid governance. And the way you can use it is delegate Fox Finance with your algo. We collect the Fox Finance community algo. We vote as one, and you, by doing this, you earn you mint one-to-one G-algo, and you can use it freely in the ecosystem. Of course, you will be able to use it in Fox Finance as collateral.
Okay, and what about using the algos that we commit in our participating nodes for consensus?
Nope, no, this you can't.
Is that on the roadmap? Is that something you guys are considering for the future? Because a lot of us, we also participate in consensus, right? We have our wallets that we do governance and consensus at the same time. Is that something that's it's in your roadmap or something you're considering, or not at the moment?
If you refer to the participation rewards, that they are going to end if they didn't yet, right? Like they are very low.
I mean,
Benedetto, I can
participating
answer
nodes to participate in consensus of the network.
So no, this you cannot.
I can answer this.
Thank you.
So right now we're actually working on with the foundation and actually several other companies in the ecosystem to restructure how governance works. With this new form, it will allow for people that are participating in are actually using their algos to register their algo for participation to also be able to use those for governance. So we are working on that right now, and once how governance is changed, then everybody will be able to actually participate.
Thank you, Chris.
Hi, Chris. How are you doing? We were thinking about the post of Humble DeFi, like about removing liquidity from the DEX. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure. How am I doing? I'm doing okay. Yesterday was a really rough day, but we made it through it. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering what exactly happened. So I received a message when I woke up from Addie saying, "Hey, check your email." I checked my email, and there was an email in there from the team at DeFi that said, "Hey, while we're integrating into Humble, I think we found a potential vulnerability." I said, "Uh-oh, let me go ahead and wake up Jay." So I woke up Jay. I got him on my Zoom, then got the DeFi guys on the Zoom, and we talked through it. And looking through it, we started building a bunch of simulations, figured out exactly if it was a vulnerability or not. Early on, it felt like the vulnerability was actually only for very deep liquidity pools. So at that point, we weren't really fully sure if it was a vulnerability yet, but out of caution, because I much rather be overly cautious than not, decided to reach out to the investors that had a lot of liquidity in the big pools and said, "Hey, pull out your liquidity just in case and make sure everything's okay." They did that, and then we built more simulations, and through actually doing a bunch of different testings and digging deeper, found out that there was actually a way to be able to use actually the vulnerability for any pool. And at that point is when we decided to let everybody know to actually remove the liquidity. At that point, we weren't fully sure exactly what it was yet, just that there was actually a way to do it. We dug into the code to find out exactly where it was, and turns out that it was a math problem. When we coded the deposits, we actually did wrong math. I'm being kind of cagey at this point, not because I don't want to tell you what it is that there's still pools out there, so I want to give as much time as possible for people to actually take their money out. And ended up being 3 letters that were wrong. We made the fix, and everything worked out. We ran a bunch of tests, and everything passed from that point. But because we don't have the backdoor into our contracts, we don't have the ability to upgrade. So we'll have to actually launch new contracts. But like I said, yesterday was a rough day, and I apologize for everybody for the inconvenience of having to take their liquidity out. It's completely my fault. So if anybody's upset or anything, it's 100% should be directed at me. And things like this happen, which sucks. But we found out what the issue was. It was a silly issue, but we learned from it, and we're going to be launching the new version here pretty soon.
I have to go ahead and commend you, Chris, for the way you handled this. I don't think I've ever seen a DeFi company be this transparent. So don't feel bad, man. The community's still beside you, and if anything, you've developed more trust than ever with us, man. And I just want to let you know that.
I really appreciate it, Cody. My main thought from the very beginning is the most important thing is to actually protect the community. So, we were as transparent and as communicative as possible, because at the end of the day, you guys are the most important thing. So, even if it does hurt the reputation a little bit. If there was no issue, I'd much rather say something early and protect as many people as we possibly could. And like, to be very clear, zero money was lost. And once again, thanks to the DeFi guys for pointing it out. Really appreciative of that. But yeah, I think crisis averted and everything is good to go. But anybody here wants to jump on, the speaker, ask me direct questions, yell at me. I'm here for it.
Yeah, Oyster, go ahead.
So is the bug as a result of just a flaw in just a bug in the flaw in the logic of the reach, or in which layer is it? Is it in the compiler? Is this something that the formal verification process should have caught? Will there be an improvement? Just so the people who are developing a reach have an idea of.
Yeah, no, Reach.
That
Reach
will be
100%. Reach was 100% did their job. Its job. It was not a issue with the compiler. This was a issue with the actual code itself. The analogy that we can use here is that, like, formal verification is good when, say, you're programming a blackjack game, and formal verification can guarantee that the game works as intended, but it can't guarantee that it is actually blackjack when you actually accidentally programmed poker. So there's a thing like that where you can't automatically catch those things. So this is one of the reasons I say, formal verification is not a silver bullet. It automatically doesn't save everything. And if you program it to do something, formal verification isn't going to stop you from doing the thing that you programmed it to do. And this is one of those cases where the actual code itself, the math was wrong, and the machine itself had no errors, but there's human error, and that sucks. But that is the world that we live in.
Yeah. I just wanted so that people, if this was a problem within Reach, and an upgrade would resolve the issue, because then it would be a vulnerability across. It could be across more, wider spread in the Reach ecosystem. But that's good to hear that it's just.
And there's actually something that we are going to be adding. So right now we do a logical verification with Reach, and one of the things that we're going to be adding, or has always been on our roadmap, and it's shown how important it is actually liveness verification. It's a different type of verification that can verify against things like it's that contracts can't be taken advantage of, and this is something that is coming, but Reach doesn't provide it yet.
Yeah, cool.
I feel like this is a very general question I'm going to ask, but why is it a pattern of Algorand dexes kind of having liquidity pool issues? I mean, maybe it's a really general question because I don't know, but I feel like this is like the third time that we've seen like a different project have an issue. So I don't know if anyone's able to provide some context on what the common theme here may be, so that as we go forward, future builders can try to avoid these pitfalls, because this is not the fault of anyone, specific. These things are really hard to build. They take a lot of complex calculations, and on Algorand, because the technology is different with the AVM compared to the EVM, I assume that the people building right now are trailblazers, and they have to try things that have not been tried before in any other environment. So with that being said, what can future builders take from this, Chris, if anyone's listening, and as they apply it to their project, think about some of the lessons that you've learned like over the past 24 or 48 hours?
So one of the things I'm going to start with, there's no need to, hunt for blame here. The blame is 100% on me, so it's my fault. But what it is like that you hit it exactly. I mean, blockchain development's hard. We're figuring things out. We're building things, and one of the benefits that Ethereum has over Algorand is that pretty much everything that has been built on Ethereum already. So people just grab the contracts and kind of build on top of it and just don't modify the actual contracts themselves. So one of the things that's, that I'm going to start doing is we're going to actually start building more in the open, where that you'll be able to actually see our contracts, and then people will be able to take what we've built and actually build on top of it. So this is one of the things that just needs to happen more, and we're going to lead with Humble. Before, the reason why we weren't doing it is because we didn't want people to take the contracts before they were ready. But like honestly, I'm willing to actually to program more in the open. No more private repositories. Anybody can actually look at the code itself as we develop it. And if they want to take it, it's going to be open source, whatever. But I think it'd be better for the community, and more eyeballs on it is the better.
That is incredible. Like, this is the greatest news I've heard since AnyDex was out. Like, wow. Having so many developers checking all the codes from everybody, that would be an incredible story for our ecosystem.
Chris, I had a question about, because I know last time I asked you this about upgradability of contracts. You said that you wanted to keep the contracts locked. Has your opinion changed since this hack or this vulnerability?
That's a great question. It made me question it, but still, no, my opinion has not changed yet. There's one of the reasons why. So number one, because of still safety. I think I'm really trying to show you that my number one thing is actually caring about the safety of others. But the number two thing is that by having upgradable contracts, it's much easier to actually upgrade the contracts, and meaning that it allows you to actually think that there is actually a way rather than the true like blue process. There's a reason why we didn't actually just relaunch the contracts yesterday after we made the change, because we want to go slow, because slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and we want to make sure that we're taking our time and we're doing things right. And I worry about like upgradable contracts outside of the actual safety risk is that people could actually see that as a crutch and go too fast when we're talking about very important things.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on some of those last points, but I understand where you're coming from.
That's okay. We freely can disagree.
Guys, it's very difficult to build something complex like DeFi app, and I mean, what happened on Humble, it can be happened to everyone. And just to get back to the question of Ibu, it's not just about DEX. It can happen to any protocol, really. It's difficult to avoid. It's just it's dependent really on, sometimes it's human error, sometimes it can be the machine. But like myself, I worked on the economic part of the protocol, and believe me, until we said we have the final one, probably we made like 100 changes. Like every time we had someone reviewing it, there was something seen. So it's like it's never enough, the accuracy that you can add in it, and it's complex. This type of things can happen. So it's you never know. It's the game we are in.
Yeah, and I just want to comment that, I mean, having developers open source code is great, but obviously there's not enough testing. I'm not saying Humble or anything, but in general, in addition to having more eyes look at the code, we need more testing. People trying to hack it, scale testing, edge case testing, etc. That's it.
Yeah, I can appreciate that to Oyster. Humble literally has hundreds of tests, hundreds and actually hundreds. We might actually have 1,000 tests that are ran every single time that the contract is changed. And plus, it's actually formally verified on top of that. The vulnerability that was found was a edge case vulnerability that actually only showed up if a whale decided that they wanted to push the contract in a way that the common flow wasn't. And the thing is, like, and even at that point, it just gave a small opening that required a lot of like moving back and forth to actually be able to take advantage of it. So, you know, totally agree that that more testing needs to be done, and we need to do better. But want to be very clear, it wasn't for lack of testing that this happened.
Yeah, no,
Chris,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, you know, people think about we need more developers looking to code. Well, we also need more testers. That's all.
Well, it's like people start to learn what are the common, right? Like if this was something explicitly that had happened before, right, it would just be in the collective memory. It would have been on the list of things to explicitly look out for. And as people build new features for new decks, as people continue to push the boundary, there's going to be an ever-growing list of common pitfalls that people will make explicit checks for. You know, it's experience, collective experience.
Chris, so you're waiting for the new audits, correct, to relaunch?
So actually, you know, I'll love to actually your guys' opinion on this. I asked this last night. So while we were, you know, launched everything, the development didn't stop. We were constantly building for V2. Now, the question that I would have for the community is, would you rather us launch quickly, just the fix, like 1.1, or should we wait a couple more weeks and launch a full V2? I'm leaning more towards where give us a couple more weeks. There's actually a couple more features that we want to add, and then just launch V2 to add a bunch of extra features. But really, it's up to the community what they like to see. If they'd like to like Humble back up and going with this fix, or they would like to us launch it with the new features and add a couple of weeks to the timeline.
I feel like more
Launch
uptime is better.
1.1.
Yeah, I agree with you, Boo.
Like, why not do both? Like, just launch 1.1 and then you can work on V2. And I think it's more important that you
remember, every single time we launch a contract, we have to people would have to transfer their liquidity from one contract to another. So it's not an easy process.
Well, if you don't launch a 1.1, you risk people's liquidity going to different protocols, and you may not get it back. So I'd say, like, from a business standpoint, I feel like you should launch 1.1.
I don't know. From like a founder perspective, I would do the second option, like wait a few weeks and have it in the better way. Still, it can attract anyway the first users. Why not? If it's the community likes the projects, they will back.
What if there's a? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I have to agree with Benedetto as well. Like, I mean, because we have plenty of, like, you know, normal featured 50-50 market makers right now. But if you can add new features and stand out in some way, I feel like that would capture more attention and liquidity than you know, just trying to rush out the old version out again real fast. Because I mean, we have plenty of those in the ecosystem right now, but adding a new feature would be huge in my opinion.
What if one of the features of V2 was a one-click transfer of the LP from 1.1 to V2?
So that's actually one of the features that we are adding, is the ability to easily transition the entire liquidity from one contract to another.
So if that's the case, then, you know, why not just drop 1.1 and then come out with 2?
Because you need that feature that I just mentioned programmed into the contract to be able to make a transition. So that's a V2 feature, not a V1.
I mean, are you going to get V1.1 audited? Like, I think you could, maybe a lot of people will disagree, but I think you could skip the audit. Like, you got it audited, basically.
We're definitely not going to skip the audit. I care way too much about it. Yes, I know that audits aren't a silver bullet, but the main thing here is safety, and I truly believe that An audit does make things safer. So I do want to make sure that we do go through audit anyway.
But with 1.1, you're barely making many changes, right? So what are they going to really, like, it should be, I don't know. I don't really know the process of auditing, but if only one or a few things change, then, like, you know, why would you waste your money?
Yeah, I would chime in saying that let the people decide on their own. Deploy 1.1, they don't want to use it, wait till V2, they can wait for V2. Or they know if they go into 1.1, they'll eventually have to migrate.
Yeah, I think a simple warning on 1.1 would be enough. Like if everybody can read it and know what risk they're taking. And we took the risk anyways before the audit went on, and nothing was shown on the audit. Actually, Chris, I have a question about the audits. Like, how can we make the audits like stronger? Because like even Tinyman, like Humble Swap, it happens like they don't find everything. I'm not expecting them to find everything, but how can you work with the audits to make them stronger as developers?
Yeah, one thing that we're doing with auditors, or where I think audits will go is that there will be more static analysis tools created that will make the auditing process a little bit better. But auditing has never been the 100% guarantee that I think a lot of people feel. Auditing is another set of eyes to take a look at it and ask the questions of, did you do X, Y, Z? Like really, the main thing about safety is just making sure that you, Oyster said, is you have the proper amount of tests, you have the proper formal verification to actually guarantee that the code will do is what you expect. But you just need more eyes to actually make sure that the code itself that is programmed to do the right thing.
If I can say one simple thing, I have been with wealth management for many, many years around the world, and there's only one person on the planet that I trust right now in terms of crypto. That is Chris, because he's honest. Whatever he does is truth, and I would put whatever in Chris.
Thank you,
Look,
Tom.
Viking, I trust Chris too, but like you're saying that no one else in this entire world of crypto is trustworthy. That's a little.
No. Well, I put my money on Chris, so that's the reason why I'm saying I put my money on Chris. So I appreciate when people are very, very honest, saying, "Hey, guys, we have a problem. This is very, very early days. We need to fix this," and he is stepping forward. I really, this is mind blowing to me.
Thank you, Thomas.
So you don't even trust Silvio?
I do on the tech stack, but listen, guys, we are all in it to win it, and we need to figure out how do we swing this. And yes, there will be a lot of things that we need to solve, but that is the reason why Bilal is holding these sessions, so we can debate them. And what I really appreciate is that everybody is participating.
What we really need is a system to incentivize white hats and savvy engineers to, you know, really break down all these protocols and, you know, into their essential parts. And we don't have that. And until we have something like that, I don't believe in this auditing system personally. I mean, just it doesn't seem to do enough. So we need people who are like boots on the ground, normal people, and have honestly more malicious minds than auditors, and try to, you know, break things down in a more effective way. I don't know. It just seems like everything gets missed, and it's just like it's like this can't keep happening. Like, we can't let
All right, all
good
right, all
projects
right.
get crippled.
Fair
Dude, I'm talking.
enough.
I'm talking.
Fair
I'm
enough.
talking.
Fair
Viking,
enough. But the
Viking,
thing
I'm in the
is,
middle of a sentence, man. I'm in the middle
oh,
of a sentence. We can't keep letting projects get crippled like this, and then having to wait multiple weeks for them to come back online. That doesn't help anything, and it makes the whole ecosystem slow down. So that's all I'm saying. We need something to get a decentralized community of hackers and white hats and engineers, like, on their own timing, just check out projects and they can get paid for it in some way, and try to break it down.
Yeah, Thomas, you had something to add to Ibu? Oyster, please.
Well, I just want to come back to the testing point. We talk about reviewing code. There needs to be actually written test cases, test case review, like what actually has been tested. And by people looking at the test cases, can they think of new test cases that haven't been tested, right? I think that's one of the things it's very hard to I mean, my background, I've been in software that's my whole career. It's very hard to review code and think about all the cases and scenarios. A key part of the review process, the quality control, is testing, test cases, automated testing, load testing, edge case testing. So, I mean, these are the things that the projects need to think about, right? Because what I'm seeing here is, I'm sorry, I'm working out while I'm listening to this, so I'm a little bit out of breath. But what I'm seeing here is it feels like there's not enough testing going on, right? There's people go on testnet, that's pretty much worthless. Besides finding major bugs or UX issues, to actually break the app we need much more rigorous testing. And the test cases, the auditors should be reviewing the test cases. Is that part of the process? No, I mean, do auditors, besides reviewing the code, ask, can I see your test cases? Hey, can I see your test results? Can we run these tests? Right? I mean, just basic software life cycle. I mean, these are things that I did, in my career in the companies that I work at, right? So that's it. I just want to chime in there because I hear about code auditing. That only gets you maybe 40%. 40%, because without proper testing, you're very vulnerable, very vulnerable.
So, Oyster, not to hunt for excuses, because once again, I'm not trying to make any excuses. This was a mistake. Google Chrome.
Chris, I'm
Google
not
Chrome
saying you didn't do enough testing. I'm not saying.
I'm telling everybody here. So Google Chrome is one of the most used pieces of software in the entire world. It's backed by one of the largest companies in the entire world, pumping in thousands and thousands of dollars into testing and security and everything. And the number of vulnerabilities that Google Chrome has every single year is, I'm pretty sure, measured in the hundreds. The biggest difference between software, like centralized software and decentralized software, is that decentralized software has zero budget for bugs. If there's a bug in a centralized piece, it's pretty easy to actually upgrade and call it good. In a decentralized world, if there's a bug, or a vulnerability, it's pretty much usually really bad. So all software has bugs, no matter how much testing and security you put into it. So the goal is not only the number of tests that you do, not only the form of verification, but it's also how simple you actually make it, to make sure that there's not room. So there's a lot of things that can be done, but I think that the assumption that testing would fix this, I think, is wrong. I think
testing will more testing would dramatically help. because based on what you said, right, the fact that there's less room for error, that when problems are caught in a decentralized system, means that you need actually much more rigorous quality control processes, orders of magnitude higher, because the room for error, the consequences are much greater, right? So we can't follow the same software engineering process as we do in Web 2. Web 3 requires a much more rigorous, higher levels of quality control. Think NASA, right? NASA quality control levels. That kind where people's lives are at stake. Here, people's livelihoods are at stake. We got to change that mindset, right? Anyway, I'm not saying you didn't do enough testing. I'm saying teams need to think about people's livelihoods are at stake here, right? So we have to step up our game across every single layer of quality control. That's it. So I'm not saying you're at blame.
I am at blame, to be very clear,
Right. But I'm
and
not
I
saying
appreciate it, and I agree
Right.
100%. We need to do
Right.
better.
That's all I'm saying. Just we need to all take a step back and think about what's really at stake here. That's it.
Yeah. I agree with what Oyster just said. And Ivan, please, you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, just wanted to add one thing to the conversation. I feel like there's an interesting framework for us to look at this as like a speed accuracy trade-off. So like using the NASA example, NASA can afford to take 10 years to do a mission. And I don't want to see the bar raised so high that it takes like that we've completely forego speed for accuracy, right? I also don't think we should completely forego accuracy for speed, right? Like the true optimum is probably somewhere in the middle. And so, right, like just like you allow yourself to make some typos when you're typing in order to like get the words out. I think that there should be, rather than like strict punishment for people erring towards the middle, towards that optimum of speed and accuracy, like we should understand and like celebrate the finding of errors, especially in a way that doesn't result in anybody actually getting compromised, right? So like people should be going fast. Like that's a good thing. Like I definitely want to see products and projects launched, and sometimes the best audit you can get is in the hands of the community when people are actually using the software.
Talking about community, I was wondering if there is any kind of work being done to, as Ibu said before, to bring Algo White Hat group to check and review many projects here. Is there any initiative in the space right now?
Bilal, yes, I've actually formulated like an idea for this. I just don't have any money to fund it. But if I did, I would have already made it. Because I think it's actually going to be more effective to have a larger amount of people looking at something who may not be as expertised or get paid as much, because auditors get paid so much. Like, and why should an audit team be comprised of like a handful of people, maybe like a dozen people? They're each making like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and like it's not even foolproof. Like, why not just take the same exact money and split it up between 100 people who may be less of experts, but you have a greater range of thought and you have a greater range of ideas. And that's when you're going to find the edge cases, rather than you have the same 12 people looking for the same exact few things and the same exact protocols, and they always miss something. So what's the point?
Yeah, Ibu, I mean, it's like for what they're charging for like a week of time, I mean, that's potentially for some people like a year's salary, right? So
Yes.
you could easily provide a pretty juicy like collective bounty for community audit for the same or less.
Exactly. Take the exact same money you're going to spend on an audit, whether it be 50K, 200K, 300K. Just put out a 3-week program of like anyone who like, we're going to open source our code. Anyone who wants to hack it, go ahead and hack it. If you find a bug, let us know. I don't know. So I feel like it would just work better. The downside of that is that there may be bad actors who find a bug and don't report it, but
Yeah, exactly.
you could get
Because
through.
the
You could
bad
get through
actors,
that.
yeah,
You
the
can
bad
get through
actors
that by
basically would.
KYCing, the people who are going to work on the code.
Yeah, I was just thinking that because basically the bad actors would have to weigh the cost benefit of them being quiet and exploiting it versus reporting it and what they're being paid for that, right?
Right. So the system would need to be created that each hacker, each white hat, is incentivized to also keep themselves and others honest. Again, I'm very, very into this idea. I've been thinking of it since literally like last year. If anyone wants to talk about it with me, I'll formulate ideas. Hit me up.
Yeah, I love the idea. That would be great because I think just in this audience and among the speakers, we have more skilled devs than many of audits.
Exactly. Like I would rather have Chris or Patrick like review my project than some auditor. Like I just think they're more honest, more trustworthy, and less greedy.
One of the things that we were actually thinking about Reach, and we didn't push through with this because it's expensive, is creating a white hacking team that focuses on just openly looking at every project in the crypto space and seeing if they can find anything. But the developers or like the people that are good enough to be able to find things are so expensive. Like they're making over 200K a year easy. If you get like say 2 or 3, just you're looking at 600K, 700K, 800K with overhead to a year to be able to do that.
Welcome to tech.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like it's hard to find a business model for that. That's one of the reasons why we didn't go to that direction, is because like how do we can't eat 800K a year while for doing this. So, and it's really difficult to like unless they're just taking the money and then just giving 90% back, or something silly like that. It's hard to actually figure out how do you actually keep the lights on with that type of model.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a tough question. It's a very, very tough question. I mean, it's going to take some good thinking to get down to the bottom of it, but I still lean toward the idea that taking the same amount of money you would pay 3 experts and open sourcing it to, open sourcing it to 10, 12 people could be way more effective.
I think it's a nice idea, actually. It can be done. Why not? It's difficult to find the people that would agree to stay in the team. The thing behind an auditor is that it's a company. They are people paid. They have salary. They have to do what they've been said to do. So you can rely. It's like more. It's more reliable. That's all. But overall, the idea, I like it.
Go ahead. I was going to say, it's one thing is with the auditors. I mean, they're very, kind of formalized in the sort of reports they give you. They can be pretty detailed. You won't necessarily get that from, the results you might get just from community audits probably kind of random, but over time you could maybe formalize it a bit more. But I think it's still interesting. I think there was an Algorand, one of the Discord channels in Algorand. I think they were, I think it's the builders channel. They were doing kind of group community audits. I think there was one of the NFT related projects. There was like, hey, everybody, we're gonna kind of do a group audit of this contract, next week at this time or whatever. And then I think they staged kind of like a code walkthrough and went from there. but I didn't follow it. I've just been too busy. But I mean, so there's initiatives, kind of, grassroots initiatives starting indirectly. But it's just, if someone wanted to go run with it, it'd be a significant time sink to try to kind of corral that initiative. But it'd be worthwhile.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. I mean, as a Web3 founder myself, I know I could use a nice community audit.
I mean, it's just tough, I mean, because it's not, I'm not, in some ways, I'm not looking forward to my audits, because, it can be, it's a time sink unto itself. And it just feels like I don't have the time for anything really, just to even explain it all. And some of that also falls on me as well. You need, more documentation for other people, but it can be hard to even get across all of the states cleanly for some people to understand it. So it'll be interesting.
To move on the subject, I think this week was full of this story about like this Aniran scam and other ones, new ones. Since we are all here, can we try to just give some guidelines to people how to check a project, like what we should look for as like red flags, etc.?
Yeah, I can throw a few out. One, if they don't have a working product or utility, you're always taking a risk of someone just taking the money and run, because then you're just simply applying trust. There is what you're doing. If you know the people or something like that, like I have a few projects that I invested in that have no utility, but I personally trust them. I'm taking a risk, but that's where you're essentially putting trust in. That's where I'm going to go ahead and say, like anytime you invest in something like that, you're taking you're putting trust in something that if you're putting trust in something you have no information on, or who the person is, or all this, and they don't even give you a working product, that's just poor investment, in my opinion. I mean, we should, if you're investing money you're not willing to lose and something like that, like you're taking a pretty big gamble.
In the case of Aniran, I feel like they promised so much. Like, they put a ton of work into this scam. They created a ton of art, concept art, systems. It seemed super legit, but everything that Cody said is true. If they don't have a working product or utility for the token, that's definitely, you are putting trust that they will eventually integrate it. But I think that technology is improved incrementally, not like with a huge, massive watershed moment. And I feel like what Aniran was promising was just too much to be realistic. Like, it was too much, just too many things going on, too complex, too over the top. For me, that was a red flag from day one, because I was like, there's no way that these people are going to pull this off. And I think that's a really important factor for me. Like, is this product actually achievable, or are they just dreaming?
Yeah, I think one of the bigger red flags, I think I just kind of casually mentioned it, and I threw like a couple hundred at it just because it's like whatever, because who knows with these things. But early on, he's looking at what they had a timeline of like they were going to go live in April, right? Yet I think it was like mid-March or something like that, or maybe early March, and they had nothing. Like, they had never shown anything of their product. There was nothing. Like, all they had was like a rendered, big dramatic, audio video of just titles and some pictures, and that's it. And there was never actually anything shown or demoed of an actual working product, yet they were supposedly going live in weeks. Like, that's a huge red flag unto itself.
Monty, I know you're working on that particular subject with Citrus. Can you tell us more about it?
Man, doxing people, and I put a tweet out right after it happened. I was like, hey, if you're somebody who's legitimately needs to be undoxed for whatever reason, reach out to us and, help me, understand what those scenarios are and why that happens. We've actually been working with a lot of vendors trying to work with traditional background check companies like you would if you got hired by some place and needed an employment background check. There's a lot of these companies that will do them internationally, and we can do criminal background checks. I can make sure your resume is who you say you are, you went to school where you say you did, and that might be a way where it's not just me putting myself at risk saying, hey, I vouch for this person, because I don't want that kind of risk, because there's still shitty business practices. You could be a real person but make some crappy business decisions. So I don't want anybody saying, hey, Crypto Nerd told me to go invest in this company because they were legit. But there are ways, I think, that we could help the community, in essence, dock themselves and give some assurances that they're at least a real person with legitimate intentions. Even if their ideas, we're not going to vet those. So that's a possibility. We're still working through the details on that, but it's an incredible amount of liability you look at taking on when you look at something like that.
Well, here's my question for you, Monty. If people are going to dox themselves to you, then we have to trust you, alone, that they are legit. So is that not pretty centralized?
Yeah. So Citrus, there's two different levels here. So Citrus they're a centralized hub for a decentralized community. So our thing is hey, we are kind of centralized, and there's a place for that, I think. But that being said, I think that we could put some of their verification, not everybody's going to be undoxed. Most of the people that are on the all the projects that are going to be on Citrus, they're going to dox themselves. They're going to be here's my LinkedIn, here's my information. And by the way, we also opted in to get our background checks done, and that was done as well. So I think that most projects are going to opt to show that they are more legitimate by saying, here's all of my information, and making as much of it as prudent public. Not personal addresses and phone numbers and things like that, but at least business related doxing.
Monty,
Make
why
sense?
don't add decentralized part where you can allow the community to vote reliability of the project, with bots that capture for avoiding bots, the way that is better, or even though why not create an user account?
Yeah, there is a social media aspect to it where there's interaction from the community. So you, Benedetto, will be able to go in and rate, Humble, right? Chris is going to go rate folks, and vice versa. So you'll be able to go in and give reviews on a project. So you, in fact, probably this week, you folks who have projects on here will get a link that says, hey, go plug in your information, share as much or as little as you want. But just know that the community is also going to be able to log in and verify that they are, a part of the community and rate you, and you're going to be able to thumbs up, thumbs down. And so you'll get sort of a trust factor from the community at large as well. So that's crowdsourced project reviews is exactly what that is. I'm going to provide all the information. The community is going to provide the feedback.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
But Monty, then if someone only doxes themselves to you, then it's kind of a trust me, bro type situation, right? Where you're just trust me, bro, they're real.
Yes, I imagine there's going to be very few of those that have happened or will happen. One of them, for instance, is Algofund. Algofund is a legitimate project. They're a launch pad, they're a staking mechanism. I have virtually met them, vetted them, done the background checks. We signed some initial documentation there. They wish to remain anonymous, which in this case I'm okay with because I have verified them, and we're going to sign a formal partnership between the companies, and both companies have legal entities. And so we will step in and be the face of the company and bring in the business to business sales, and they're really just going to take a back seat as developers because they're really good at what they do and they're pretty smart. And so We'll try and help them get audited and help them come along so that it's safe for the community. And if that happens, great. But that's only one project. You know how many people hit us up, Ibu, every day, right? You're in the same world I am. Like, hey, can you give us an interview? Can you give us a shout out? Like, a retweet does not equal endorsement. Very, very few projects I think are going to fall into that category.
Are tokens being exchanged?
If you want to pay for to dox yourself, yes, that will be a paid for service. If you want to use
Didn't you
our
exchange
background
tokens
check.
with Algofund?
Yes, we exchanged tokens with Algofund for a staking pool.
Okay,
And
so
that's a true partnership. So we've agreed, like, hey, we're going to share in revenue if this comes along. That, hey, we provide advisory services, you provide the launchpad services. If it's a project that we have jointly brought on board, then yes, we will share in revenue from that. Now, there's also going to be a voting mechanism. So it's not just our projects that we kind of gatekeep. We'll put a list of projects up there, and people will vote on them, which ones they think are, which ones they want to see. And it'll be fairly exclusive. You're only going to get a couple a month.
I have a question. If you're wrong, if Algofund is not really who you think they are, what would you do?
I guess we'd figure out what we did wrong first, fess up to the community, and then figure out how to make it right.
Okay, I know where Algofund is from because they approached me first. So again, what would you do if you are wrong?
If they stole all their Algofund from all their people and just disappeared overnight?
No, if it's a fraud.
Well, then we would have to go back to our system and figure out, hey, what do we do wrong? Tell the community,
if we
this
need
is
to
what we did
trust
wrong.
you, if you enter into whatever agreement you did, and we need to, well, we trust you. So if you step into a deal that turns out to be a fraud, what would you do?
Well, in that case, we would be defrauded too. So I suppose there'd be some kind of legal aspect as well.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. So if we trust you.
So you're asking, how are we going to do our due diligence?
What I'm asking you is, if we trust you and we step into whatever you point at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out to be a fraud, what would you do?
I think exactly what I just said. We would try and figure out what went wrong, how it went wrong, bring it to the community
Really matter
in a
because I
transparent
just
way.
lost my money, so I wouldn't care less.
Well, you're right. I mean, if they stole money, it would be a terrible thing, right?
Okay.
So what recourse do we have?
Just walk me through how you step into a deal that you promote in this environment, because I know things.
For us, we look at companies, and it's not a very swift process.
Okay, so the company,
there's quite a bit of background
the company you just verified, where's that located?
The Algofam guys are based out of France.
Okay.
If we have Verdex, Prismatic, and Algo DAO coming out, all of which have docs teams, what's going to make me want to use Algofund, who doesn't have a docs team?
Yeah, I mean, we think that there's enough room for everybody. And just to be clear, they have not been audited yet. This is pretty far off, right? We've signed a mutual letter of intent is what we signed. And it's a very complicated process, right? I'm based in the U.S. Having a launch pad based outside of the U.S., if I sponsor something or give direction towards a project like that, there's a lot of legal hoops to jump through. So it's a pretty slow and meticulous process. But we think that, hey, there's enough folks that come out that need a launchpad service, that maybe also need advisory services, that might need a full package that reach out to, an Algo HQ or myself or, somebody who's in the community and needs some guidance. And this is one that maybe 2 projects on a monthly basis could get released on. And we've got a pretty strong community that we're trying to work up and corral around. And so these projects will be in a fairly exclusive club, essentially, that gets released on this launch pad.
Oyster, you're raising your hand?
Yeah. Well, I just want to, my 2 cents on this is very simple. Do not invest, don't give your money to strangers, period. Very simple rule. Common sense. I mean, it boggles my mind how people can give their money away to strangers. It is unacceptable to do business with strangers. Well, I should say it's foolish, right? Very foolish to do business with strangers, right?
There's a really nice take, Oyster. Adam,
well,
please.
I mean, this is
sorry.
just common sense. I don't even know why
it
we're
is.
even talking about like, should we? I mean, common sense. We don't. It's foolish to do business with strangers. Not only strangers that live on, you don't know who they are, other side of the planet. You have no jurisdiction. I mean, it's mind-boggling.
But also the problem is, like, blockchain is a global industry, and everybody's like working from all over the world at the same time. There is no global jurisdiction anyways, and we won't call Interpol about Anirand or anything. So we are moving into a space that law has just like very small grip on it.
Yeah, like for example, Anirand, I'm just hypothetically, I bet you Anirand would have been given the green light by Algofam or by the Citrus Fuzz, the Citrus Trust, or people. You have this site up there, and because they do a good job of with their smoke and mirrors job, people go in there give good reviews to Anirand. Anirand received tremendous reviews until the day they rug pulled.
Very true. They were, sorry to just jumping in to support your point, on the Algorand ecosystem page where people can vote, they were one of the most upvoted projects with like 300 something positive upvote.
Exactly. My point.
Yeah.
Patrick, please, again.
No, I was just saying it was likely all botted. Right. I mean,
Exactly, but it still makes them look legit.
For example, can be exploited, right? Social engineering. How many times people get called by someone who's faking to be PayPal or Amazon or a credit card company or a bank or a doctor, trying to get your information or trying to steal your money?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Anirand team themselves, right? Some of the accounts that disappeared. If you look at the posts from some of the accounts that suddenly got deleted, there are people going, "Hey, I found this cool project. It's amazing," and they're basically acting like there's these independent people who discovered this amazing project,
right?
And there was tons of that.
So what if we ask the question the opposite way, like, what make you trust a project instead of what make you doubt a project?
I mean, just back to the previous topic, like there can be legitimate legal, financial, like regulatory sort of concerns over doxing, no question. But generically, if the team isn't willing to put their face to it, screw you. You're not getting my money, period.
Exactly.
Like 100%, like Algofam or whatever. I haven't even heard about it. Like if they're not going to dox, then no, you're not getting my money. Period. There's too many other choices out there, legitimate choices, and that's where I'll go.
Adam, please.
And this is where I'll plug AlgoDAO once again, and Verdex. Those are my 2 favorite. Verdex Starter and AlgoDAO, which hasn't launched yet, but people should look into it. And that's, yeah. And if anyone has any questions about AlgoDAO, I've done extensive research on it. Feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah, we need to get them here, maybe like in a few weeks or maybe next weekend. Adam, here, do you have a question?
Actually, I want to just comment on this. First of all, I'm just kind of put into this, so I'm just going through the middle. But I get a lot of projects that come to me, and a lot of them on BSC scan. So we know like a lot of things on BSC scan is not legit, right? So the thing is, you don't know what's a legit project or not legit project. I'm just talking for myself. Everybody can invest any way they want, but I will not take a promotion job unless the team is doxed, has an audit, and I have a video call with the team. When I have a video call with the team, I make sure to grill the shit out of them. And if they don't know at least as much as I do or more knowledge, I think that's bullshit. So I don't want to, promote them. What I'm saying is I've made teams actually dox themselves and put it on their website, their pictures. Not that this is foolproof, but at the very least, people should be held accountable with a face. And I got to make sure that that person that's face is on the website with their first and last name is verified at the very least, because, you got to know what you're investing in. So I don't know much about the situation, but everybody invests different. But I think it's absolutely insane also to invest in a project if you don't know who the team is, the docs team. And there's a question, why is a project not doxed? There's very few reasons why a project is not doxed. Very few reasons.
Depending on where you live and stuff like that, it can matter. But if you're investing into let's say an undoxed project, at least let the product speak for itself is what I would say. If they have a working product, it's open source, they've had it audited, like it just really there's variables to doxing yourself and undoxing yourself. So I mean, there's levels to it, but when you're investing to an undoxed project with no product, you're taking a massive risk, I would say. So
Yeah.
that's where I'll leave that there.
Yeah, but Cody, you remember the Sushi Swap was a real solid product, and still the guy left with the millions.
Yeah, but he ended up. I mean, there's all kinds of weird thing with the sushi. He brought the money back, and ended up going to an all-time high, and soaring to crazy heights. I think it went up to like $27, $30 at some point, which is insane because I remember looking at it when it was like 70 cents when all that happened. What you're talking about right there. So just because something bad happened on the protocol doesn't mean it can't just recover and soar past something else, because there's it just really depends on what happens and how transparent everything is. And like I said, on the blockchain, don't lie. As long as it happens on the blockchain, it's there. So
what you said is true, Cody, but I want to kind of counter it by saying that the Algorand space is not going to develop in the same exact way as the Ethereum space. And by being, later to the party on Algorand, like Ethereum has already tried so many things and had a lot of failures and a huge amount of success, of course. We don't need to repeat every single thing the Ethereum ecosystem has done and try it for ourselves. We know what's going to happen. So why don't we skip the bullshit and get to the good part? Like, we know what works and we know what doesn't work in certain circumstances because they were already battle tested on ETH. So why do we have to waste our time going through the same motions that we know exactly what's going to happen? Why don't we just be better? Why don't we try to be a better ecosystem and a better community and learn from the people in the past instead of forcing ourselves to learn everything the hard way?
Just the counter argument with that, there's so much regulatory uncertainty right now in crypto, just so much that I can understand it as long as you give me a product that's open source and I can have a whole bunch of smart people look at it and making sure there's no some stipulation where they can rug pull everyone or do something like that. If you're willing to build something for me and it'd be great, I don't really care if you're doxxed or not. And if you're really willing to, chit chat with the community, be active, not just be like some mysterious shadow in the back, like super coder or something like that, working but in my opinion, there's just variables to it. And it just really depends on your due diligence in the situation. It is riskier, like you are saying, but it just with the way regulations are, I don't mind it when we get clarity and there's like a straightforward answer for everything in crypto. Then I can kind of see like, all right, there's no reason to be doxxed anymore, boys. Like Uncle Sam came out here with this little white paper of like how shit should be done, and if you don't do it this way, it's just not right.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but it's a very dangerous what you're saying, because the average retail investor cannot do proper due diligence. That's just fact, and we need to preach. Do not like what you would tell your kids. Do not go into a stranger's car. Do not trust strangers. I mean, this is just common sense. It is not. I mean, this is just common sense. Just like you tell your children.
I like your advice, Oyster. It reminds me of a very smart business guy in Nigeria. He told me, if I cannot sue the guy, I don't do business with him. And I think it's smart.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Are you done? May I speak or?
Yeah, you can go ahead, bud.
Oh, sorry. I tend to agree with Oyster that, so you got to understand and again, anybody can bring up a project, anybody can invest in anything, and it doesn't matter, everything's for entertainment and educational purposes, nothing is financial advice. I have to say that. So at the end of the day, though, most people that are investing, no offense, nothing, are not high level. Most people don't understand what to look for. Most people don't, and most people will be sold by a dollar in a dream, right? And docs is very important. That doesn't mean to say docs is 100%. You're getting, you could still rug pull if you're doxed, but it's very hard to invest in something if you don't know what the team is. So I do traditional finance as well. So somebody says, oh, Adam, for example, give me $1,000. I have somebody that's giving me, 10% interest. I'll reinvest your 1,000 with them, but I never meet the person. Well, fuck that. I'm not giving you my money because I don't know who that person is. And when I come after you, I can't come after that person who owes me the money. So it's very dangerous to invest in a project that's not doxed. And no, not all doxed projects are legit. However, I will tell you the opposite. Almost all the rug pulls happen to the not doxed, if that makes sense. More not doxed teams will get rug pulled or do something notorious than the opposite, if I'm explaining it correctly.
Yeah, that makes 100% sense. Like Bilal was saying, if I can't sue the person, I'm not going to necessarily do business with them. I think it's a very slippery slope there. You're right. I was in the like a Discord channel the other day. I think Bilal popped in there too. One of the Gnome guy, his Discord channel, and they said they found the Anaran people. Did anybody follow up on this? Anybody know anything about that? Like, were they able to track them somehow, or was that just all fugazi?
Hey, what's going on, guys? If you don't mind, I did see another post that he made about that situation, and I believe the gentleman that he was talking about, he was not part of the Anaran team. If something, he was offering a letter or something like that to see if he can get his money back.
Got it. So that guy ended up being just another person who also got scammed.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, man, is that it's one thing to feel more secure with a docs team. You see faces, but sometimes you click on a LinkedIn, there's no information really. So putting a face behind a name is like grabbing a picture off Google. There's no facial recognition. And to me, it's like, whether you doxed or not, what's the repercussions, right? If we can't track you down or things of that nature, I mean, what's the real big deal about it? I think we need to be seeing about having an exchange. We can actually look at the price per token or asset, however you want to say it. Can we see if the LP is locked? Things of that nature too.
I think you make a great point there at the end about locking LP tokens, that if it's a legit project, in traditional finance, you could never have a company establish themselves and within a month liquidate half the company. Like, that would never, ever fly in any country. But we live in the crypto world. So that's what we like. That's why we're here, and that's one of the crazy and cool things about it. But that's just not a thing. And so I think, maybe if teams don't dox, maybe they should be dedicated to completely locking their equity and their share in the project, so then they can't be the ones to screw it all up.
Well, just to add where you need to do due diligence in that factor, and just locking up tokens doesn't necessarily make it safe, because you need to pay attention to like what circulating supply they locked up in. They could like lock up like 1% supply and then dump 10% on it later and rug pull that way. I know the popular way is just to pull the liquidity currently right now, but even with a token locking system, that's not 100% foolproof. You would definitely have to monitor, like, and make sure they're not going to dump on that pool later and just drain the liquidity that way.
Hey, I got one question. So I know that with BSC, I can go to PooCoin and I can see right there to say, hey, the LP is not locked, or this person has 99% of the tokens, or blah, blah, blah. Where can I go for that for Algorand? Like I see
Tiny Chart.
So this Tiny Chart does have that information.
Yeah, it's on the right-hand side.
Okay. So I did find that. But as a new person just getting into this ecosystem, it was kind of hard just being able to find something that the tinychart.org, what's the other one? Algofam and
the best way, my friend.
Yeah,
The best way is to go to Algo Explorer and you check on the token, on the asset itself. And when you scroll down, you will see the holders and you have all the addresses with the amount. I think it's the safest way to go. It's more precise. You can just check all the tokens, and that would make it very safe for you. Algo Explorer, to me, is the best way.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. It was just, coming from a different world, it seemed like a totally different world coming over here. I was just looking for those pillars that everybody would use to, to find information like that. So, hey, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Like Algo Explorer is great. They added so many features. You can check like every asset. You can check it there. Then you can check the big wallets and like clawback, everything. And also who holds the token. You can check like every asset holder, and you can compare like the supply with how many wallets are holding it. Like sometimes you have like 1,000 wallets and 2 wallets have like 70% of the supply. That's kind of things like that. You can check that all. And also, as Ibu said, like Tiny Chart is doing a great job. Even GFly are doing a great job with showing like the distribution of the token in a simple graph. That can be helpful too.
Where are people locking up now? Because Tiny Lock isn't audited. Tiny Safe's not ready. John was on here from Algofam, and I think I asked him about it, and he said that was kind of maybe they were going to do something way down the road, but it wasn't like an immediate, thing they were going to, an offering, like a vault or something.
It sounds like a feature that launchpads would integrate. Prismatic, Vertex, even Algofund. If you have a line to those people, tell them to build it in. Tell them to build in. If you're launching a coin through Algofund, and you detail the tokenomics and how much is going to the team and how much is going to investors and everything that needs to be locked up or liquid, and anything that needs to be locked up, have that be fully transparent and doable through the launchpad, and like build that straight in. I think that's a way to get straight to the source of the problem.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame there's not something that's already built. As mature as the Algorand community is, every day it's still like, oh shoot, like we're still pretty damn early.
Yeah, I mean it's mature, but we're getting to the second level. In my eyes, we're getting to the second level of projects where we have the dexes, we have the lending markets, and we have like basic things, and now we're getting to the next level of advancement, which is launch pads, more advanced NFT marketplaces, liquid staking, and like these things kind of come in waves. That's what I'm learning, and so we're getting into the second wave. And 3-4 months ago, we saw the first wave crash, and that was all those early projects. and now we're going to see the layer 2 essentially projects that will upgrade and build further functionality into the first wave of projects.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I like this idea of a wave, because even with the price, when the price dumps, we have a new wave of members. I think something that is very important and underestimated is how well we can welcome the new Algofam members in general, because that's how the community has to grow. Of course, we have tokens everywhere, like people complaining about the tokenomics, but how do we treat our newcomers into the space is very important, because if we scare them away, or if we're not fun, like if we are boring, like people are gonna leave to some shit coins, like look at Doge, the size of the community. It's not because they have like the best product, it's just because they are fun. And sometimes we need to be a little bit more fun, like, to be honest, like that's something we need to think about in general for our community. Adam, yeah?
Yeah, I could speak on this a little bit firsthand. That's what I'm trying to do with my channel, not to plug it in, but I'm trying to link so you guys are super smart. I'll say this all the time. Like, really, the developers here, very high level. It's a fact. And I'm trying to bridge the gap and, no disrespect, dumb it down a little bit, because at sometimes it is boring. Not to me. I love this shit. I love this geek stuff. But most people don't love this geek stuff. And that's the most people that have the armies and the community and the yes, we're gonna win, blah blah blah. So the thing is, it's like if a tree falls in the forest, but nobody's there to hear it fall, did it make a noise, right? Like, we know the answer, but you understand what I'm trying to say. So at least from my point of view, I'm trying my best to if anybody watches my videos, to really dumb down and hold somebody's hand through this and explain what we have. Now, anybody can build a token, a project, blah blah blah. That's easy. But you guys already built the difficult things, or currently building it. You guys already built an entire financial system on the DeFi platform, which is, it's dope, you know, where you could really make money in DeFi, and that's growing. So as you said, the next layer is going to be maybe some funner projects or some more token projects or some things like that. But as Chris said earlier, Ethereum had a first market advantage, right? It was first in line. BSC literally copy pasted Ethereum, and what is everyone doing? Everyone's using Solidity, copy pasting that, and they already know how and what to do. But it's very cookie cutter and very basic ecosystem of DeFi on these blockchains, at least from, you know, my stupid ass what I see. But that's what I'm seeing right now. So, you know, it'll come, but yes, it's most people don't understand what you guys are saying, and that's disrespect, but that's a fact. So at least from my end, I'm trying to dumb it down and be a little bit of a bridge, and that's because we're so high level. But Algorand is not complicated. Algorand is actually one of the simplest blockchains, but for some reason it's perceived as super complicated, and it boggles my mind how simple it is, but perceived to be so difficult.
I totally agree. We need to work on the perception, like, and how to make like everything more fun. Like, I tried last year with Fame, but we are still doing, but we're trying. But we need, I think, more initiative that makes it very welcoming and easy and fun. And anybody has any idea here?
Well, I think the marketing that Algorand Inc. pushed for Algorand in the first 2 years of its existence lent itself to what Adam was saying, that this is advanced. And basically, I think the message they were trying to push to the general crypto market is like, Algorand is a more advanced idea on what you're used to on Ethereum, pure proof of stake, you know, freaking, what's it called, cryptographic sortition, and all these things. Like, you know, I'm not going to get into the details right now, but I think for that reason that Algorand tried to push this as the next level of advanced blockchain, a lot of people were like, yeah, that's a little too much for me, I'm not going to even do it. But really, like, when you try it out, you realize that that stuff exists, but really on the surface level, from the UX and UI perspective, it's simple. But I think that Algorand's marketing in the first 2 years didn't help, because they made it seem like this crazy, like, oh, this is super advanced, and like, that's cool for tech people, but for the general market, it kind of maybe turns people off.
Yeah, like a bit inaccessible.
Hey, but if y'all don't mind, I can answer this one for you very easily. All you got to do is make video, and like cartoony video that basically break down how you can buy Algorand on your Trust Wallet. A lot of people use Trust Wallet, and they don't know. I didn't know that you can buy Algorand directly on your Trust Wallet, and then you can just transfer it over to your Para Wallet, right? A video of somebody doing that, cartoony or whatever, it gives a person a chance to look at it when they want to, and it gives them the chance to follow step by step. So if you put out a lot of cool, fun videos like that, people will start catching on because they'll learn on their own pace, right? And it'll be easy, fun anime or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And actually, Ibu did a great video on Algofy, how to lock. And I think, Ibu, actually, you are one of the producers with Monty, with Adam, with like so many ones. Like, can you? I think you guys have the key to open for a bigger community. Can you tell us more about how you made your video and what do you do in the video side of things?
Yeah, sure. So when I started Algo HQ, I was really into Algorand. I thought it was dope, and I was trying to tell my friends about it, and then they weren't really like listening, or else they just kind of like it wasn't ending, and I was getting tired of repeating myself. So I was like, I'll just make videos, and if you guys want to learn, like you could just watch the videos. And a year later, nearly a year later, here we are, and the page is clearly like done well, and I find it really engaging, and I find it fun to take these complex things and make them accessible. I'm not an animator, but I could definitely make a video about how to bring Algo from Trust Wallet or Coinbase, but really like I don't even think it's that hard. Like that's one of the easiest things to do, but I could still do it. I could still make a video about it for sure, but like really it's about once you get that done, then the fun starts. Like once you have the algo in my algo or your Para wallet, that's when the fun starts. Really, like all you have to do to get it off the exchange is just copy paste an address and make a few clicks. But that being said, I'm not discounting that, and that first step is super critical for adoption. So yeah, that's what I do, man. You should check out my videos. I have a ton of videos about all types of things Algorand. Totally not shameless plug, because I'm not ashamed. And no, but about the Trust Wallet thing, like, yeah, I'd be glad to make a video about that. And if I send it to you, please proliferate it around your community and your people as well. Because that's what I'm here for.
Hey, I'll repost anything that I see that's educational. And the thing about it is, me myself, I'm still a novice. I've only been in crypto maybe a year and a half. I know a little bit, but I still got rugged by Algorand. So what it is that you got to remember, there's somebody out there that still doesn't think crypto is real. All crypto, Bitcoin, they still think Bitcoin is a scam right now. One of the biggest questions people ask me is, can I get my money out? And that's all crypto. They're not asking about Algorand or Doge. They're talking about, if I put money in, how can I get it out? And these are potential investors that are scared to get in. But at the same time, you have those of us who are in who still need to be educated more. So anything that you think that might be simple to you, it might be advanced to somebody else. And if you can make, memes, and put a cool little song behind it, or whatever, it's greatly appreciated. I just followed you. So anything that I see, I'm going to share. So, hey, thank you.
I appreciate that, man. And actually, I think you make a really good point there, because the centralized exchanges don't have an incentive to get people to withdraw their crypto from the exchange. They want people to be clueless. They want people to just go on Coinbase, buy it, leave it, because that plays into their profits. So it is up to creators like myself and Monty and Cody and anyone else who makes videos like this. Adam, of course, I think it's your first time in this space, or the first time I've seen you, but welcome. And it's up to us. And the difficulty is building the community from scratch, especially when I started in the algo community. Like, there was no other content creator that was focused on algo specifically. So at least that I didn't know about any. So yeah, like, it's really about reaching out now. And now that I've reached a good amount of the algo community, now I'm trying to get into ETH and Cardano and Sol and bring those people into. But really, you're right that it's not even just about crypto natives. It's the way bigger honeypot is the people that don't even know how to get their crypto off the exchange.
Yeah, and to that point, there's a second prong to this as well, which is in-person meetups. There's a lot of signal. There isn't much signal amongst the noise of YouTube videos, but if you get people in a room, even if it's just an introduction session, I held a session about a week or two ago. We ended up attracting like 40 people to come to an hour-long DeFi 101. And we walked through what are each of the financial instruments that DeFi, the basic instruments, what are they abstractly, and then dove into an example using Algofam. And more than half of the people left there signing up for having a Para wallet downloaded and exploring Algofam the next week.
Yeah, that's amazing. Sorry, your connection is not like stable, but just to jump on that subject, that's also the new strategy for the Algo Foundation, which is amazing. Like, they want to be more involved in the local communities. So we will see more local engagement, and I think that's something we will see more of, which is a really good news, because we need to meet face to face, like Decipher. Look how impactful this event was, and soon we'll have the Paris event. Like the Paris Blockchain Week Summit, which is a huge event for blockchain. So, Thomas will come here. We'll have Alexander. We'll have a lot of people, and yeah.
Hell yeah!
So did you take your plane, Thomas?
Come again?
Did you take your plane ticket already?
No, bicycling tomorrow morning. I told you.
Oh, awesome. So yeah, we need people to meet face to face. That's key. And I will be myself, like, also like welcoming anybody coming to Paris. We have also like a party. Hopefully Silvio will join. So Silvio is giving the keynote speak on the 12 or 13, I think. So yeah, we need to meet up more often in Europe, in the US, and now that COVID is gone, I think it's the perfect timing for us.
Yeah, but I think it's going to quarterly events around the globe, because we are a global society, and a lot of things are going on, and so we need to hook up constantly.
You guys in the US can meet so easily, like that's amazing. And in Europe, we are building the local communities in different cities, and I think that's something that can have a huge impact going forward.
If anybody's in New York and wants to do a meetup, just let me know. We got a spot we could do it at. But that's one of the cool things about being early. That's why I say this is the most promising blue chip crypto. At around the 6 or 7 market cap, we're still so ridiculously undervalued. So it's almost like getting into Ethereum when it was like in mid range of what it's about to do, or be about a year and a half ago or something. It's pretty interesting, because when this thing flies, because it's not all about hype, right? We don't have, actually it's about no hype. We have no hype whatsoever. And then once we get the hype, our production capabilities and our ecosystem, our developers, our community is going to speak for itself, and then that plus hype is definitely going to help us out. When we increase that demand, and the price should go up. It's pretty cool to get in early.
But I think that the price is going up when, you know, humble swaps, service like that is going to explode around us. It will increase mass adoption, and then it will start to explode.
It's also important to remember that we're at the very early end of the technology adoption curve. So there's still so many people that haven't been introduced to anything yet. And to introduce them to Algorand and some of the products that are already out there, it's so simple and easy that we can get people onboarded without having to convince them to leave where they are.
Totally agree.
Well, we've been going for about 2 hours. Think it's been an amazing talk. We should wrap it up. Does anyone have something they want to say before we shut it down till next week?
Yeah, come to Paris.
Well, is anybody going to be in Miami with me next week?
Yeah, I'll be in Miami. Spend some visitors.
Well, one thing I want to say before I go, you know, once again, sorry for the inconvenience with the humble, and you know me, I'm not going to hiding anywhere. So if anybody wants to talk about anything, or you know, you can DM me, or you know, if you want to face to face, I'll even Zoom you. So really appreciate everything, and until next week.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate everyone.
Alexandre, you have something?
We try to build a community in France, and we start with Discord to help people to be on board on crypto. So many people don't really know crypto, so we help them on Discord, and we try to make it more accessible with a space in French, so people from France can go on board easily, because usually all the crypto information are in English. So we try to make it more accessible to everybody. Try to make some tutorial with YouTube channel. So we try to build something, build some content in French language to help new people to come on board. So I'm very happy to welcome everybody in Paris in few days. So come have a drink with us on the 12th, maybe have a drink again on the 3rd. So I'm very happy to see the Algo community in Paris. Everybody is welcome.
Thank you, Alexandre. Yeah, I'm French too, and we will be building a French community. So if anybody is not comfortable in English, just join us on Telegram in French. And Alexandre is doing a great channel in French. So that's how we build a strong community going forward. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, my friends. This space is recorded, so anybody can listen again. And thank you, Adam, for joining us. It was great. I really like your channel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And see you next week, same time, 1 p.m. New York time, 7 p.m. Paris time. And take care, my friends. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bill. I'll see you all soon.
Bye.